So these are the first 2 tomatoes that I'm going to plant. And incidentally, and this is what happens, I was out for a walk this morning with Coco, and my neighbor, not the one who stays in the next house, but he has a bit of a vegetable allotment plot, and he was planting up the tomatoes. And then I got to talking to him, and then he asked me how many plants I need, which is really sweet, because today morning I was thinking, oh, I forgot to sow some tomatoes, but this seems to be very, very, very fragile. So this is the one that's called the Rose de Berne. It's got a very plump, kind of pinkish tomato, and I have grown this 2 or 3 years ago, and it's really, really, really nice. So let's see if I can take this out without damaging, because this seems to be quite a delicate one. Yeah, it's got a nice root system, and it needs a support. It definitely needs a support, otherwise it's just gonna snap. It's too tall without a support. So now that I've cleared up some parts of the bed here from my lavender, so I'm just gonna pop that in. The soil is still pretty good. I'm going to add some feed later on, some tomato feed. I have some algae feed that I like to give my tomatoes. So form that in, and then right away put a cane close to it. Okay, there you go. And then just tie it up with a, I'm gonna tie it with an 8 knot, which just means that it leaves space between the cane and the plant, because I don't want it to rub against each other. So I put it around, and then I make a knot there, and then I twist it, and then I put it around the plant again. So that's how kind of I'm avoiding any bruising factor, and yet keeping it relatively tight, not too much. Don't want it to snap if there's a strong wind, which is very likely the case in this area. So double knot, tighten again, make an 8, and then loop it through, and then tie it here. So that should be good for this one. And I'm going to water it, give it some of the algae feed, and this should be good. Should be good to go on. I might put something in here just to stabilize it a little bit more. Let's see. Maybe just a piece of wood. This may or may not help, I'm not sure. But this should be firm, should allow the plant to grow. Okay. The next one that he gave me is this one, and this is called the cœur de bœuf, so the beef's heart. Actually the cow's heart. The bœuf is the cow. So I think this one I'm going to put it here. So I still have some of the lavender and the rosemary still left, which I haven't planted out, because I still have to find the place, and as long as I do that, I'm just going to put this one in. As you see, the soil is very loose, extremely beautiful, so don't need to do anything. Again, I'm just kind of pushing the sides to loosen it up, and then turning it around and just tapping it, and then out it comes. And you see, very nice root system. He has already put a support, so for now I don't need to do anything to it. I'm just gonna pop that in, firm it down, create a crater so the water remains. Kind of a good idea always to create a wall around it with the crater in the middle so the water can remain. Done that here as well. So good. So that's those two, and I'm going to put this in. I won't tie it up right now. I'll just wait for the plant to grow, and then I'll tie it up. So that's the cane for that. And then I just saw that I still have some baby plants from the cocktail tomatoes that I had planted actually 2 years ago. Already last year I had some baby plants from them, so I'm gonna go get them and put the ones that I can find in that corner. really teeny baby ones, and I'm just going to put it in a row. I'm leaving some space in and around because I want to plant the basil, which of course we know are best friends with tomatoes. So very, very teeny tiny ones. So I'm just going to put them in. This one may not work. This is too small. No, sadly this is not going to work. Let me show you how small they actually are and how delicate they are. You can see that. So put that in there. Plenty of sun, as you know, tomatoes like sun and water. So that should be good. Down there, ferment that in. And then the second one here. This has quite a nice root system. So put that in there. Yeah, so that should be good. And so I'm hoping I don't need to buy any more tomatoes thanks to my wonderful neighbor. People are so kind. Gardeners are the kindest people you will find. So one there, one here, one there, one there. So it should be good for summer. It's very important to water them in once you put them in the soil. And the two here. Let us see, where is it? There it is. And there it is. And then for the basil, I'm just gonna, and this is something I do all the time, is I'm just going to create furrows along the sides and put the seeds in. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to even bother to grow them in the greenhouse, so just making furrow, and then I'll sprinkle it with the seeds, just like you would do for putting salt on food. That's how the action is. Okay, and then my seeds. So this is the basil that I'm going to put up. It's just the Genovese. I don't have a lot of them in here, so I might need to go and get another packet, but that's how it looks. And I'm going to just pick that and sprinkle it in the furrow. Try to go as thin as possible, because remember, each of these seeds has the potential to become a plant. And then actually I always like to do it from a height. So I'm not even going to label, I'm just gonna put this one in the corner so that I know what I've planted. Alright, great. And now close it up, firm it down. I just need to have some kind of a mark here to note where it stopped. So put that stone in. Okay, allergy season has started, so yeah. But I love it. Not the allergy season, but the time of the year, of course. So, plant it down, and now just watering it. Have a thorough good watering, and then we can have basil here. Okay. So I have to take off the sweet peas, and they smell heavenly. but it was growing along the support for the dahlia. So I do need to take them off, and as you can see, this is quite a bit of a mess here. So my next job is to clean it up here and check which are the dahlias that are coming. So the dahlias are the places where I have the canes in, so I remember where the tubers are. And I didn't take them out last year, but I'm going to now go through each of them and check which ones are blooming and which ones have already rotten, so I can throw them. But this one this is a real joy. So that goes in the bedside table. This space here in one of the vegetable patches that I have, that is, when I look at it, so incredibly diverse. And it's amazing when you think about it. This is a fairly small piece of land, and I was as I'm clearing it, because I just got some tomato plants, and I'm going to put some courgettes actually here. The tomatoes are going to go in the other side, but this is unbelievable, because I have loads of poppies that have sprouted, and they have already actually flowered. So I hope that by just taking them off, I'm not wrecking too much of a havoc, because I think the bees and the butterflies have got their nectars and everything, so that should be okay. There are some buds, of course, that haven't bloomed as yet, but then that's the sacrifice I have to make. And when I look at this soil, it is so diverse. It is unbelievable, all the things that are just growing in this very, very, very tiny piece of land. So when as I just take out the poppies, and it actually wrenches my heart to do this. This is so hard to do, but I have to clear up the space. And sometimes in gardening it is also necessary to let go of certain things, because you can't possibly be growing everything, and there's limited space, so you need to know what to give priority to. And it's like I always say, as in gardening, so in life, because in life too, so many times we just need to let go of certain things, right? Things that don't serve us anymore are not a good fit for that point of time. Doesn't mean it's a wrong or a right decision. It just is the time. That's the right time to either let go or to let things remain. And I'll just show you what I mean by the diversity of this. And as I remove this, so then I see so many things that are happening as an understudy for this, and that's unbelievable. And I'll just show you, and I hope that I can share some of this with maybe some of my neighbors who may not have the plants that I have. That's how the community grows, right? So you share things and give things that are of an excess, and get certain things that the others, or you give certain things that you don't have, that the others don't have. And that's how this whole circle of life works. And I'm clearing this space right now, and as I clear it, I'm looking for signs of tomatoes, because this used to be the patch where I had tomatoes last year, which incidentally I did not sow any of it. It just grew from the year before. But as I'm clearing the soil, I'm looking out for signs of them. You can see them. I did find two which I removed and put in the other tomato bed. I tend to rotate the crop so that the same thing doesn't grow in the same place with the following year. It's just a good gardening practice, I think, not to have the same thing, because that just gives the soil a chance to recover or to develop different kinds of nutrients. Because, for example, if you have beans or peas, which I have on the other side, I tend not to sow them on the same place, because they release nitrogen into the soil, and then that nitrogen, if you then the following year grow peas in the same soil, they're just not going to grow very well because the nitrogen is in the soil, and so you would want to put some other crop that benefits from nitrogen. So it's a good practice. It's just a good practice to keep rotating crops so that everybody has the best possible environment to grow. And now that I'm clearing this, so what I find loads of fennel, and that's because I have this huge fennel bulb. This was just started as one bulb, by the way. And I never grow it for the fruit or for the vegetable, but I grow it to take the prongs and use them in flower bouquets, because I think it's lovely. It's just so feathery and wispy and adds a very beautiful texture once you have a bouquet, an interesting bouquet that you want to create. And now, because of that, I can see at least 4 new baby, no more, I can see one more here, baby plant of fennel. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave them in the soil, and then I'll ask around my neighbors and friends here if anybody needs a fennel plant, and they're really tiny, so I'm just going to pot them up if somebody wants one, and then give it to them instead of just chucking them into the compost, which of course is another way of going about things, right? And like I said, this is the same in life as well. Oftentimes it's once we start clearing up old debris or things that we don't need, we see other beauties that are there, and perhaps they're not of use to us right then, but then we can share. We can pass on that newly found knowledge or the new thing that we have learned to someone else. Maybe it doesn't serve us, but you never know, it might serve somebody else. And it's always a good idea to share, because you never know who is going to need it and when. So yeah, well, coming back here, so let me just quickly show you all the things that I got from the nursery today. So I got 3 courgettes, because the courgette I got from my very generous neighbor gardener. I just have one that's sprouted. The other one was eaten up, unfortunately. And that's the way it is. That's how gardening works. And so I'm gonna pot up these 3. These are the yellow variety. This is called the what's it called? Aurelia F1. So that's the yellow kind of a courgette. So that's a good thing. And I got one pepper plant. So that's this one. This is gonna be interesting, because this is a red pepper. I don't think I've ever grown a red one before. And so of course it gives you all kind of instructions how to do that, and I never follow instructions. I've never been the one to follow instructions. And then I have 2 verbens. This one is incredible. This is a lemon one, and I'm hoping this is interesting. So I just want to quickly show you. I'm hoping to grow this as a perennial. So this is what I'm going to try. This is supposed to be just an annual. So it says Verveine citronnelle. So it's the lemon verbena, but I'm going to grow it as a perennial. And sometimes it works. So even if you have an annual, so what you need to do is that when it dies down, then either you take cuttings and you just keep growing on, which doesn't actually mean that you're growing it as a perennial, but that you constantly have a new plant all the time. So I'm going to try to do that, and wherever I put it, I'm going to try to protect it from the cold. Although this area, this might work as a perennial. Once I have a good bush going, I'm going to divide it. I'm going to lift it and divide, do a root cutting, because I think that's probably going to be the best way to do this. It looks quite wispy and quite fragile. So I'll see how this goes, but the smell is incredible. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I got another verbena, which I'm now surprised actually, because I did not see the variety. It's the same kind I have growing everywhere. It's the verbena bonriensis, so the Argentinian verbena, but this one is saying it's got a saveur amère. So I need to check what that is. It looks very much like the verbena I grow, but never mind, it doesn't matter. And then I got the tomatoes, the 3 plants, the Roma, which is the classic kind of a tomato. It's the longish ones. I'm going to put them in the other bed. Yeah, so quite happy. Just keep watering them, and soon it'll be time to harvest.